Why on earth would anybody ever do this to themselves? Are the benefits that great? Over the past few years, ice baths and other forms of voluntary cold exposure have become increasingly popular. Proponents of it claim a list of benefits longer than a CVS receipt, including improved recovery, increased muscle growth, increased metabolism, and even improved mood. But will ice baths really give you all these benefits? Or will they just leave your Jimmy Dean looking more like a baby carrot? Let me explain. But before we begin, I just want to clarify what exactly we'll be focusing on in this video. I want to clear up the effect of ice baths on muscle building and performance in the gym, and not any of the other benefits. I will say though, there is convincing evidence that cold exposure will increase your resilience and mood, so if that's your goal, they're definitely a good option. However, the reality of cold exposure in the gym is a lot less straightforward. In the past, the main reason people utilize ice baths is to minimize inflammation and aid in recovery following intense workouts or sports. The idea was that although the cold exposure was uncomfortable, athletes often reported less pain in injured or sore areas following the treatment, on top of the fact that any swelling on their body had decreased. Unfortunately, for the millions of people that have used this as a form of recovery, the extreme discomfort they endured with the hopes for healing their injuries may have just been a waste of time. Healing an injury has 3 clear steps: inflammation, repair, and remodeling. Each step must happen in order for your body to move on to the next one. It's important to understand that inflammation in itself is not bad. It's actually just a byproduct of your body sending more blood and resources to the afflicted area. So applying cold temperatures to your body will only inhibit this process. But since inflammation is often uncomfortable, there are much better ways to reduce it without hindering the healing process. You'd be much better off moving your body through whatever motion it can handle without inducing pain. This can even be lightly riding a stationary bike after a workout. This will break up the inflammation, but continue to promote blood flow throughout the body. Even better, studies are now showing that cold water immersion and 10 minutes of active recovery following a workout show very similar, if not the same, decrease in inflammation. Except with active recovery, you're not inhibiting that vital blood flow. But how exactly does cold water exposure play a role in the muscle building process? At this point in time, there are 2 well-known studies that analyze this relationship. They're both fairly similar, and both involve groups of active men performing either 10 minutes of cold exposure following their workouts or some form of active recovery. After weeks of training and regimented recovery, both studies found a difference between the 2 groups. The trainees that engaged in some form of active recovery had larger muscle and strength gains than the group who participated in cold exposure. I want to note, however, that these results were not proven to be statistically significant. However, this is likely because the studies were not long enough to see the extent of the relationship. Both authors concluded that cold water exposure directly following a workout likely slightly inhibits muscle growth, and the difference can add up over a long period of training. Because after an intense workout, blood flow to your muscles is very important to help them recover from the stressors that they've endured. One of these studies actually had the participant ice only one leg and move around the other following a lower body workout. So if they were to continue this practice over the long run, it'd leave them looking like a half flamingo, half Saquon Barkley. However, it's not all bad for cold water in the gym. Recently, there have actually been positive findings that regular cold water exposure may actually help you develop your desired physique. This is because of the relationship between cold water and the fat in our bodies. Researchers have recently discovered that individuals who undergo regular, voluntary cold water exposure, a minimum of 11 minutes per week, actually show an increase in their resting metabolism. This means that while their bouts of cold showers and cold baths don't even take up a fraction of their overall week, they actually improve your body's ability to burn energy when you're not even doing anything. I know this sounds like some kind of stupid commercial promoting your next testosterone booster, but this is definitely legit. When our bodies experience cold, they can actually change the white fat in our bodies to brown fat. And the major difference between these 2 types of fat is their energy expenditure. Think of white fat as a bit of a storage for energy. It doesn't do much in terms of helping our bodies burn energy, but is rather more of a stockpile. Brown fat, on the other hand, are very high energy expenditure forms of fat, and are actually extremely healthy to have in your body. They will aid in many processes, including regulating your body's temperature. More brown fat means higher energy expenditure. And yes, even when you're sitting down doing nothing. An increase in brown fat would lead to people developing superior athletic performance as well as just a faster metabolism. Bodybuilders mid-prep would pay lots of money for maybe even just an extra 100 calories, so this could actually be very useful in a gym setting. So let's recap. If your main goal is to build muscle and/or recover, I'd avoid ice baths from around 4 hours before and the 4 hours following your workout. This will make sure that you don't dramatically inhibit blood flow during the times that your body needs it most. Instead, opt for a form of active recovery such as light cycling or stretching. However, if you're hoping to improve your overall health and maybe increase your resting metabolism, voluntary cold exposure could be a very useful tool for you. So there you have it, the truth behind ice baths. It's not as black and white as many people say it is, but things like this really are. If you do plan on performing cold water exposure now, please do it responsibly. Start with a manageable temperature and slowly build your tolerance. Just pick a temperature that is enough to make you uncomfortable, but not too much that you'll risk things like hypothermia or even heart attack. Yes, if water is extremely cold, like extremely cold, and an unadapted person immerses themselves in it, their body can actually get shocked by the temperature and can go into a heart attack. So yeah, don't be an idiot. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and you were able to learn something today. If you have any other idea for topics you'd like me to cover, please leave them in the comments down below. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.